Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share something powerful, something that could add years not just to your life, but life back into your years. You see, when we look around the world for examples of people who age well, one country consistently stands above the rest: Japan, not just because their citizens live longer, but because they remain mobile, strong, and independent far into their 80s, 90s, and even beyond 100. Now, most people think this comes from complicated diets, special supplements, or expensive exercise programs. But the truth, something I've discovered after years of studying healthy aging, is remarkably simple. Japanese elders maintain their longevity through a set of small daily movements. Movements that require no gym, no equipment, and no more than a few minutes a day. And today, I want to share 6 of these movements with you. If you're over 50, these movements are not optional. They're essential. Because what we lose first as we age isn't strength, it's mobility. And once mobility declines, everything else follows. But the good news: by incorporating these Japanese-inspired movements, you can reverse stiffness, restore balance, and reactivate muscles you may have forgotten you had. Let's begin. Elders in Japan do this every morning before taking a single step. Strengthening the ankles reduces falls, improves posture, and keeps the joints lubricated. In Japan, strong hips equal long life. Hip circles protect the lower back, improve walking endurance, and restore fluidity to your stride. A stiff hip is an early warning sign of accelerated aging. This movement slows that clock. Japanese elders often call this the life breath. It expands the lungs, lowers blood pressure, activates the lymphatic system, and improves oxygen flow, something most people over 50 desperately need. This movement mimics the traditional way many Japanese sit and stand. It strengthens the knees, thighs, and hips while promoting joint resilience. It's one of the big reasons Japanese elders can stand up without assistance well into old age. A simple towel pulled overhead and behind the back opens the chest and realigns the spine. This counteracts years of sitting, texting, and hunching, habits that accelerate aging more than most people realize. This is not just walking, it's mindful walking. Short, brisk steps with engaged core muscles. It improves digestion, burns calories, and keeps circulation flowing smoothly. If you are over 50, I want you to listen closely because the next few minutes may completely reshape the way you think about aging. Not in a dramatic, unrealistic way, but in a biological, deeply practical way that is rooted in longevity science and in the observable habits of the world's healthiest elders. There is a group of people who for generations have quietly demonstrated what it means to age not just successfully, but gracefully and powerfully. And these are the elders of Japan. They live long, yes, but more importantly, they live well. They walk independently, they bend, they balance, they move through their days with a level of ease that many people half their age have already lost. And what's fascinating is that many of the benefits they enjoy come not from aggressive exercise routines or fitness fads, but from a handful of simple, repeatable movements they've woven into daily life. No gym memberships, no heavy equipment, no complicated training, just daily consistency. Now, as someone who has spent decades studying functional aging and mobility decline, I can tell you something with confidence. Most people don't lose their independence because they lose strength. They lose it because they lose movement. Stiffness steals mobility before weakness ever shows up. Joints tighten long before muscles shrink. And the tragedy is that people assume that stiffness, aches, and reduced range of motion are just part of getting old, when in reality, a significant portion of these changes are preventable, and in many cases, reversible, when the right patterns of movement are practiced daily. That brings me to these 6 daily movements practiced, almost instinctively, by Japanese elders. They are simple enough to do at home, gentle enough for any fitness level, and powerful enough to impact your balance, posture, metabolism, circulation, and joint health. What I want you to understand is that these movements are not random exercises. They represent a philosophy of staying mobile. They target the exact areas that tend to deteriorate the fastest after 50: the ankles, the hips, the spine, the breath, the knees, and the walking gait. And if you improve those 6 areas, the rest of your body follows. The first of these foundational movements is the ankle roll. Now, it seems almost too easy to be meaningful, but from a medical standpoint, the ankles are your balance command center. When the ankles stiffen, and this almost always happens gradually between ages 45 and 60, your body compensates higher up the chain. Your knees start absorbing more shock, Your hips tighten to stabilize you, and your spine begins bending or twisting to help maintain equilibrium. All of that leads to a cascade of discomfort and dysfunction. When older Japanese adults perform ankle rolls each morning, what they're really doing is resetting their balance system before the day begins. They're stimulating proprioceptors, improving blood flow to the feet, waking up the small stabilizer muscles, and reinforcing the brain-body connection responsible for staying upright. Just 30 seconds per ankle can dramatically change how steady you feel during the day. Many falls could be prevented by simply improving ankle mobility. When your foundation moves well, the whole structure above it has a better chance of staying aligned and functional. The next essential movement is hip rotation, or what many Japanese elders casually practice during morning routines. The hips are the gatekeepers of longevity. If the hips stay mobile, a person can continue walking without pain, standing from a chair without effort, climbing steps with ease, and maintaining spinal health. But when age-related stiffness sets in, the hips become the first joint group to restrict range of motion. Once that happens, the pelvis tilts, the lower back tightens, and the knees begin absorbing stress they were never designed to take alone. By making circular fluid motions with the hips each day, Japanese elders preserve this crucial joint mobility. They enhance synovial fluid production, keep muscles around the pelvis active, and prevent the slow but devastating decline in flexibility that many people assume is unavoidable. A mobile hip is one of the strongest indicators of someone's long-term independence. When somebody in their 60s or 70s maintains good hip rotation, they nearly always move younger than their chronological age. Another key daily movement is one that affects both the body and the nervous system: a deep breathing stretch. Now, in modern Western lifestyles, where stress levels sit at chronically elevated levels and people rush from one task to the next, very few individuals take the time to expand their lungs fully even once throughout the day. But in Japan, elders practice controlled deep breathing, often combined with gentle stretching of the arms above the head or out to the sides. This helps reset the diaphragm, improve oxygen exchange, stimulate lymphatic drainage, and regulate the parasympathetic nervous system. When you are over 50, your body craves oxygen more than you realize. Oxygen is essential for energy, cellular repair, metabolism, and cognitive clarity. Shallow, rapid breathing, which many older adults fall into unintentionally, reduces oxygen flow and contributes to fatigue, brain fog, and increased inflammation. The deep breathing stretch used by Japanese elders is a daily rebalance, a way of opening the chest, aligning the upper spine, and reminding the lungs of their true capacity. It combats the hunched posture that naturally develops when the chest tightens from years of sitting or stress. A simple, slow inhalation with an overhead stretch can improve everything from circulation to digestion. The fourth movement, though subtle, is incredibly important: rising from a seated position without using the hands. Traditional Japanese seating often involves sitting on the floor or on low surfaces, and because of this, elders regularly practice what is known as the Seiza-stand. Now, you may not sit on the floor often, but the movement itself, transitioning from low to high without hand support, strengthens the quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and stabilizers around the knees. These are the exact muscles responsible for maintaining independence. Studies consistently show that one of the strongest predictors of how long someone will live and how functional they will remain is their ability to stand up unassisted. Think about how many daily actions rely on this ability: getting out of bed, rising from a chair, stepping out of a car, standing from the toilet. When the strength and coordination required for standing erode, life becomes restricted. Each unassisted stand, even if it's only from a normal height chair, trains your body to maintain the strength you need to continue living independently. Japanese elders do this without thinking because their environment encourages it. But you can recreate the movement at home with intention, and your knees and hips will thank you. The next movement is deceptively simple, but one of the most effective tools for posture correction: a towel pull. Japanese elders often use a bath towel held overhead or behind the back to keep the shoulders open, the chest expanded, and the spine aligned. This counters one of the most destructive patterns of aging: forward rounding of the shoulders. When the shoulders roll forward, the chest collapses, the neck strains, the breathing capacity decreases, and the spine begins shifting into an unhealthy curve. This posture accelerates aging because it compresses organs, reduces lung capacity, and contributes to chronic pain. The towel pull resets the upper body by encouraging proper alignment and strengthening the small postural muscles that keep the shoulders from collapsing. It opens the rib cage, encourages healthier breathing, and reduces stiffness in the thoracic spine. Just a few slow pulls each day can undo hours of sitting or standing in poor posture. And finally, there is the Japanese walking philosophy. This isn't just walking for the sake of movement. It is mindful walking designed to engage the core, align the body, and increase daily circulation. Short, intentional steps with a slightly elevated posture encourage the whole body to work efficiently. Japanese elders walk everywhere, not quickly, not aggressively, but consistently. This style of walking improves metabolism, supports cardiovascular health, and promotes joint lubrication. It becomes a daily cleansing mechanism, keeping inflammation lower, aiding digestion, and boosting mental wellness. Walking with intention is one of the simplest, strongest longevity tools on earth, and it is one of the primary reasons Japanese elders remain physically capable for so long. Their bodies are constantly in a state of gentle motion. They do not sit for hours without interruption. They do not treat walking as exercise. It is simply part of life. Now, I want to explain why these 6 movements matter so much for anyone over 50. After 50, your body becomes highly sensitive to 2 things: inactivity and inconsistency. Inactivity accelerates stiffness, weakness, metabolic slowdown, and loss of functional mobility. Inconsistency prevents meaningful improvements, even if you exercise occasionally. The magic of the Japanese approach is in small, daily, repeatable motions that prevent decline before it begins. You are not trying to become a bodybuilder or an athlete. You are trying to keep the machine functioning smoothly. Just like a car that lasts decades when driven gently and maintained regularly, the human body responds extraordinarily well to small daily inputs. These movements are, in essence, the lubrication, alignment, and tuning of your biological engine. But there's another layer to this: the psychological and emotional impact. When people perform gentle daily movements, they foster a relationship with their bodies. They become more aware of how they feel, how they walk, how they breathe. This awareness alone improves balance and reduces the risk of falls because the brain forms stronger movement patterns. Many older adults lose confidence in their physical ability, which leads them to move less. That creates a spiral of decline. But when you practice even 2 or 3 of these Japanese longevity movements each morning, your confidence grows. You feel more stable, more awake, more alive in your body. And that confidence turns movement into a habit rather than a chore. When I talk to patients, what I emphasize most is this: aging does not have to be a rapid descent. Biological aging and lifestyle aging are entirely different. Your chronological age is simply a number. Your biological age, how your joints function, how your muscles respond, how your heart pumps, how your lungs expand, is heavily influenced by your behavior. These 6 movements practiced by Japanese elders may look uncomplicated, but they contribute directly to biological youthfulness. They protect the areas that determine mobility. They reinforce the patterns that support strength. They preserve the functions that keep people independent. Think about how powerful that is. Every day, without stepping into a gym, without lifting a weight, without spending money on equipment or trainers, Japanese elders are reinforcing the framework of long-term health. We often imagine longevity as something that requires extraordinary effort. But real longevity, healthy, mobile, vibrant longevity, comes from simple actions performed consistently. You can begin these movements today, wherever you are. You can do them in the morning as your body wakes, or in the evening as you unwind. You can practice them for 5 minutes or 20. What matters is not intensity. What matters is consistency. If you are over 50, your body is asking for movement that restores, movement that loosens rather than stresses, movement that supports rather than strains. These 6 Japanese movements are exactly that. They are gentle but powerful, simple but transformative. They target the exact systems that decline with age and help reverse that decline before it becomes limiting. If you begin practicing these movements daily, even if it's only a few minutes at first, you will begin to feel changes, subtle at first, then undeniable. Your ankles will feel more stable. Your hips will loosen. Your back will feel more supported. Your breath will become fuller. Your posture will open. Your walking will feel smoother. And day by day, movement will become easier, lighter, more natural. You will feel more capable, more balanced, more confident in your own body.